Okay, it's important to think about your review framework. There's different ways of structuring. So this comes from the Forrester reading, doing a literature review. So the links are there on the slides. And these readings are all in EBSCO. So make sure you're logged into EBSCO, that you're in through New Learning and in EBSCO before you try and hyperlink the link. Then it will should take you theoretically directly to the reading. So there's 4 broad frameworks in which you can use to look at your literature review: chronological, thematic, cross-disciplinary, or theoretical. So chronological is what it says, in the chronology, the date sequence of events. You're providing an overview, a history of the literature that you focused. You need to be careful that you don't fall in the trap of being a boring descriptive list, but you need to tell a story of that. But you're presenting the data of the readings over a period of time. The original research did this, and so-and-so built on it and provided that. This led to the further development of X, and you're providing a chronological story. It's a history story. You're telling a story of the history of the research in this area. So it's chronologically based, it's date based, to give you a meaningful review. And you create a summary that leads again to your research questions that you are asking. And that's how most people will do their literature review, is in broad chronological order. It's the most common way of doing things. Okay? It's the simplest of doing reviews, because you simply put them in date order and get a discussion, and you reach a point of where we are now. And therefore we've got to go to this next. The alternative is doing the themes. What are the key concepts and ideas that you are discussing in this area? And you group these into patterns and themes, and you discuss them under the different headings. Okay? At the end of each theme, summarize the key points and including a linking sentence to the next theme. So why would you do themes? So you're getting your main key concepts and constructs together. Okay? You're less concerned with who did what, when, and where, but you're looking at your area of interest and the commonalities in the different areas, irrespective of the era and time when it was done. You're creating a more useful discussion by using themes rather than just this linear process. It encourages you to analyze and interpret the material, because you have to identify the themes, so you've got to think analytically about your topic. So you can't just put them in date order. You've got to understand your reading, what is the concept, idea, or theme they're discussing within it, and group it together. And so you'll group your different readings under theme headings. So domestic violence, economic studies, socio-political studies, feminism studies, relationship dynamic studies. Okay? Sexual difficulties, whatever. And those would be themes of why domestic violence happens, rather than just this order where it's quite difficult to make sense of the different themes. So you draw out a coherent body, and this can often give you both a theoretical and or a method in which you can engage with your project. Okay? This is often the hallmark of an excellent project, doing theme-based literature review. It's more difficult, it's not as straightforward, because you've got to understand your material and you have to critically analyze and evaluate it to make sense of it. A cross-disciplinary review, so you're looking at studies within a discipline and you're looking at studies from other disciplines as well. And you're bringing these elements together. So what is nursing done on this? Psychiatry, psychology, counseling, social work. You can have cross-disciplinary views on various issues, or even theoretical type views, Marxism, feminism, socio-economic, macro theory, whatever. You go through the various studies and you calculate where each work sits, summarize them again, identify the key issues. So it's a variation on the theme, except it's done from a disciplinary point of view, the different theoretical and approaches. So this can be done in terms of how people have worked, or a theoretical orientation or a philosophical orientation. The cross-discipline can be any range of focuses. And then theoretical frameworks. So structuring your discussion in the literature around different theories, theoretical points. Again, we go back to the levels of theories we discussed. You can structure it in those terms. Is it a meta theory, a grand theory, a micro theory? Structure your readings accordingly. Or is it feminism, Marxism, person-centered, humanistic, cognitive? What are you using? Okay. So as you develop your skills, you'll also begin to build out on your theory on this as well. You gain a critical account of what's going on. So you're using the theory to link the content. According to Freud or Rogers, whatever, this means this. Don't try and find everything ever written on it, or you'll be searching forever. At a certain point, stop. When you have enough material and you've got a good enough focus and you've got a key enough understanding from your readings. It's when you're sitting with a lack of understanding or a lack of clarity around a particular point or area in your topic is when you go and do more reading and research. But at a certain point, if you've got enough and it's formed a coherent enough explanation or description in your own mind, stop at that point. Digest it. This is a meal. This is a banquet. You've got to digest it. I think that's the point I've been making about taking your time and rereading. It's about the digestion of your readings. If you don't give yourself space and time to digest the readings you've done, you're just going to be in a mess. It takes time to assimilate these readings. So don't write your literature review without structuring it. So use one of those structures from your readings. You categorize your readings into piles, into folders, so you know these readings are covering X. Some reading might be covering more than one area. Put them in all three piles. Okay? So that you know what's going on where. Okay? Don't attempt to write it perfectly first draft. You're going to keep going back and repolishing and moving stuff around, taking stuff out, putting stuff in. Don't simply describe, create an argument. Okay? That's what you're doing. You're presenting an argument for your research. Why are you doing this research? You're presenting an argument, a reason, a justification, a rationale. Both and. What you believe, but your belief is coming out of your readings. It's structured around your readings. And this is where maybe those personal experiences play a role. You build on those. But it's primarily around linking the theory to the research to an explanation. It's a critical evaluation and analysis of both the content and the previous research and theory coming together. You're bringing in theory and explanation of something. You're bringing in previous research. You're bringing them together and you're forming a critical evaluation of those. And don't worry if you struggle with the writing of it. It is a difficult and complex process and it takes time. Give it the time it needs. So you've got this 2-week break. Use it. Okay? Use that time. And that's how most of you will feel. That's only one paragraph. Got the introduction done.